Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another repair DIY video. My name is Arthur. I'm a technician here at Luggie Scooter. And today we're going to be focusing on how to release your seat manually. You would only have to do this if the seat was locked in two different height positions. And that's the result of the seat not being fully locked into place before sat on or utilized, causing it to one side the lock higher than the other side, or um, being very unsafe to use. Now, this can be prevented if we look at the indications on the seat folding assembly itself, which is located right here and on the other side as well. These indications are red. Now, if the seat's not fully locked into place, you will not see a red indication. It will just be metal. We want to see that red indication. That lets us know that our seat is locked at the position that we want it locked in and is safe to be seated on. Now, in case the seat did not lock well enough and caused it to lock at two different positions, we would need to manually push in the release pins that are located behind the wheel and between the frame itself. Okay? Now, you can do this one of two ways. If it's not severe, we can simply, I use an Allen wrench. I locate the pin and I can actually push it in with my hand and the Allen wrench, of course, and that would allow me to bring the pin far enough in on either side. The pins are located on either side, and then once I have that pin far enough in, I can actually bring the seat down. See? There you go. Now, if this is locked in a position and the pin is too hard to get to, another way to do it is actually removing the wheel. Now, the wheel is not that very difficult to remove. There's a little hubcap right here that you just take off to expose the bolts. Now, with this repair, you would need a little ratchet as well as a 13mm socket, and we want to just remove this wheel. You don't have to necessarily remove both wheels. One will do fine. Now, we want to be careful removing this wheel because there is a little pin that is located with the wheel, and we want to just take that pin off and make sure nothing happens to that. It actually goes in the side of the wheel. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But as you can see, it gives me access to the pin. Now, this pin is essentially what's holding up this assembly. Now we can push the pin in with the hammer. I use a little hammer. Just kind of tap it just to get it nice and flush. And then I would use my Allen wrench, or you can use whatever, something that really not that abrasive to the scooter, and tap it far enough in so. And once it's in far enough, it'll actually allow you to push, or I'm sorry, squeeze the lever and reset your seat. Okay? Now, if it's necessary, you might need to do it on this side as well. Just to manually recess the pins that allow your seat to come down. Again, this can be prevented by simply looking at these red indications. I'll give you a better look in a minute. And making sure they're red. So there would be no problem with you knowing if your seat's locked into place or not. And then we're going to go back and replace the wheel. Now we want to place the wheel as so, and essentially line up the pin. There you go. So you'll see the pin is lined up. That pin again comes from the wheel. You line the pin with the transaxle and it pushes in. And now we can replace the bolt. Use your socket wrench to tighten up the bolt. I want to hold the wheel so there's no movement. And replace your hubcap. Now again, what I want to convey is that to gain access to this pin, you may need to remove the wheel, or if possible, just use something to push that pin back in without removing the wheel. Now, again, I work on a bench. It's preferably that you work on something that's, easy on your back. The easier it is for you to work on the scooter to get to parts and other stuff like this, the better your repair and the easier your repair will go. I've worked on the scooters on the ground, and it's a little difficult. You need to get the scooter in the right position and things like that. But again, before we sit on our scooter, we want to, make sure everything is fully locked into place. And that's simply by looking at these little indications that lets you know that the scooter is locked in place and is okay to be sat on. Okay. Again, this is one of those repair videos that you can use as reference, and in case this ever happens to you, God forbid, and find out what to do. Again, if you have any other submissions or video requests, feel free to give us a call or give me an email. Email is service@freeriderhealthcare.com. Or you can like and leave a comment on the video. Thank you very much.